Get your podcast with Wisconsin On Demand. The biggest sports stories of the week.
I liked an Instagram post this week that I didn't mean to and unliked it pretty quickly. No rump shaking. Did you say that off the air, Kyle? You guys say that on the air. It was not rump shaking. It was not anything inappropriate. Jason, do you ever unintentionally like a rump shaking tweet?
He's a married man. Don't answer.
And then have to unlike it?
I have not yet.
Unique and compelling analysis and opinions when it comes to your favorite teams.
I understand the Packers' vision, and it was similar to the way Ted Thompson was with the drafting of Aaron Rodgers. But regardless of how Jordan Love's career turns out, in my heart of hearts, I believe that he cost the Packers at least one, if not two, Super Bowl appearances based on how he handled the 2020 draft.
This is Sunday Karma, broadcasting live from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All studios at the Avenue. Here's GKB founder and CEO, Craig Karmazin.
And good morning. Welcome to it. Sunday Karma. All-Star Weekend Sunday Karma. Kyle, I thought I had seen enough of Tyrese Halliburton for the whole year.
Uh-huh.
I like that guy a lot.
You should. He's a hometown Wisconsin kid.
Oshkosh, Wisconsin.
Yeah, I'm mad. Let me not get started on Greg Gard.
So, check it out. Palermo's Pick bonus edition.
Ooh.
Go to podcasts, wherever you get them. Listen to the Woj podcast. Had a live event in Indianapolis with Tyrese Halliburton and Grant Hill together.
Oh, that's a quite the couple there.
Yeah, Grant Hill, he's in charge of USA Basketball. So he's the one who's picking that team. That Tyrese Halliburton was part of the World Championship team this year that did not bring home gold, but will be part of, it would seem, the team that would go to Paris to represent the USA. Of course, that not announced yet. He's just one of the 30 players or so in the pool.
Can I just add, Tyrese Halliburton, because he's a Wisconsin kid, where he really got his blow up and his glow up was, I believe, when the under 21 or under 19 team, back when he was going into his sophomore year of college. I mean, he had a phenomenal summer with the USA team, and everybody was like, oh, yeah, this kid's really good. And the rest is history for Tyrese because he had a great sophomore year, and then he got drafted by the Kings, and now he's with the Pacers.
You know, he was a quarterback when he was in college?
You mean in high school?
In college.
Wait, he walked on?
No. Do you know who was the quarterback when he was in college?
Oh, Brock Purdy.
Yeah. That's crazy, right?
I mean, sometimes you just got talent.
But those two guys, like at Iowa State, like first that they were at Iowa State.
Probably both two under-recruited guys going to Iowa State.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's crazy. Good job by Iowa State finding those guys. But anyway, check that out. That's the Woj Pod with Tyrese Halliburton and with Grant Hill, which was from Indianapolis on Thursday night. Last night in Indianapolis, did you watch Steph versus Sabrina?
No, I did not.
What?
I was watching something else on Netflix.
What were you watching on Netflix?
Love is Blind.
No, you weren't.
I sure was watching Love is Blind. I sure was.
What is wrong with you?
I sure was. I'm not into the All-Star stuff anymore. The dunk contest isn't fun anymore. I saw, Dame win the three-point contest. I saw that, but I used to be so into it, and now it's not good anymore, Craig. It's not.
It's definitely good. It may not always be great, but it's definitely good.
I mean, when a G League guy is like your star, that's a problem. Who won on Thursday night too, or Friday night too?
What do you mean?
The Rising Players Tournament Challenge. Well, I guess they lost in a championship.
Yeah.
But the NBA All-Star Weekend has lost its luster a little bit. It's starting to teeter kind of towards what the NFL All-Star or Pro Bowl is. It's losing its luster, Craig. You have to admit.
No, the three-point shootout was fantastic. I mean, so good. I mean, these guys shoot the ball so well. And then I think the peak of the night was how well Sabrina shot the ball. I mean, she came out and made her first 7 threes. She put up Sabrina Ionescu from the New York Liberty comes out and puts up 26 points, which is the same as what Dame did to get to the finals, as did 3 other guys. And it's the same as what Dame did to win the finals.
But why are we surprised though? She's a great shooter. She's a phenomenal shooter. Like that's what she should be doing, right?
But she's doing it from an NBA 3-point line, which is further back.
I mean, what, a couple feet back for her? That's nothing. She's an elite shooter.
I get it, but you don't think that pressure in front of that huge building and everybody there to watch her represent an entire gender?
She is a superstar. She came up under Kobe Bean Bryant. Like, she is a star. He identified, she's a killer. She's a good one.
And she is. I mean, she hits her first 7 in a row. Like, even Dame wasn't hitting his first shot. Like, most guys missed their first as they're getting lined up. She came out and hit her first 7, had 26 points. Then Steph Curry puts up 29, which is bigger than anybody else scored the entire night, including Dame Lillard, to win the entire championship. And Steph wins the Steph versus Sabrina 29-26. But you know who's going to be there next year.
Caitlin Clark.
Yeah. I mean, and I don't know how Sabrina's not going to be there because she's from San Francisco. So I don't know if next year it's going to be Caitlin. Like if Dame, now that he's won back-to-back, if Dame steps aside from the three-point shootout and it's in San Francisco, so it's Steph and Dame versus Sabrina and Caitlin.
And Dame is from Oakland, I believe.
Yes, exactly.
So that would be something from the Bay Area, yeah.
So you got those two hometown guys in Steph, playing for Golden State. Dame from there. You got Sabrina from San Francisco. And then you got Caitlin, who's going to be a rookie, I assume, next year. I don't see how she's going to come back.
Yeah, is she a fifth year or fourth year?
I think she's a fourth year.
Yeah, there's no reason to come back.
I mean, the reason would be if she made like $10 million at Iowa, and that's more than she make in the WNBA.
That is very true.
But which I would guess she'll go to the WNBA. I guess even if she is in college still, I guess she could be at the NBA All-Star Saturday, right?
She could, and Sabrina, she kind of alluded to the fact that she's looking for a partner for next year because Steph, I think, kind of hinted at mixing it up for next year and maybe having a partner for him. So that would be that's prime time. That would make me want to watch that type of show. Yes.
If it was what now?
If it was Dame and Dame and Sabrina versus Caitlin and Steph, that would be exciting.
Oh, okay, so you don't want to see Dame and Steph versus Sabrina and Caitlin.
No. I want to see team. Yeah, I want to see. Yeah,
you don't want to see men versus women. You want to see the mixed doubles.
I want to see the mixed doubles. Absolutely.
Yep. So that was fantastic last night. So while you were watching Love Is Blind, now is Love Is Blind? Is this blind people finding love? What is this show?
No. So you haven't seen Love Is Blind?
No.
This would be a great show for you to go on.
For me to go, wait, you're not even saying a great show for me to watch?
No,
you're saying this is a great show for me to go on?
I say it's a great show for you to go on.
Wait, are you saying because only blind people can find me attractive?
No,
is that what you're saying?
No, not at all. Many people find you attractive, Craig. That's not it. Many people find you attractive.
I wouldn't go that far.
But Love Is Blind is something where you can't see the other person. You're behind a wall, and you just get to know somebody based off, the things, It's not a physical attraction or financial.
For how long?
And so you're in the pods for like 5 days, and you talk to I think it's 15 men, 15 women. And you go into these rooms, the different rooms, and you have conversations with people, and you get to know people without worried about looks, without worried about finance, without worried about job. You just have a conversation.
Wait, so you don't know what they do for a living? You're not allowed to ask that?
I think you can, but you really don't hear people say it too much. You hear people talk about maybe I have a house here, or I have a kid, or I was divorced, or things like that. But not too often do they talk about, I have a career in this. Maybe they do. I don't know. I like the juicy stuff, and that's not juicy talking about.
Now, you watch okay, so this is different than 90 Day Fiancé.
This is very different than 90 Day Fiancé.
Okay, so now in Love Is Blind, so now they're doing this for 5 days, you're saying?
They do it in the pods, they call it, for 5 days, where basically you're in this place, and the men have a side, the women have a side, and you can go into the middle and you can't see the person. So you have a men's side and women's side. You talk to people. You do that for 5 days.
And they just rotate through talking to everyone?
And they kind of knock people off their list of who they're actually vibing with. After those 5 days, you can propose, or you can propose whenever you want. You propose blindly. So you propose to somebody and you can't see them against a wall.
Wait, what are you proposing? A date?
You're proposing like getting married.
Wait. So after not seeing someone
for 5 days,
and after less than 5 days of knowing someone, You're proposing marriage?
You are proposing marriage, and the first time you see them is the reveal because you propose. They say yes, they say no, and then they do a big reveal.
Wait, so they say yes or no to getting married to you before they've also seen you?
Before they have seen you, yes, and then they finally see you at the reveal where they have you blocked out. Then the doors go up, and then they run to each other. They get to see each other for the first time. Sometimes some people are ugly. Sometimes some people are attractive. Sometimes people are happy. Sometimes people are sad.
But is it? I mean, it's obviously not legally binding. So what happens then?
So after you propose, then you go to like a Mexico DR. You go to an all-inclusive resort where you and the other couples that got engaged go to the all-inclusive resort. You kind of you hang out and you have this magical.
And they
trip.
show all this.
They show all of this,
okay,
and then then you realize pretty early on when people start drinking and you get to be with somebody, and then they get around the other people that they dated in the pods as well. It becomes a whole mess. It's very
when you're saying they've dated in the pods, but they've never seen those people either.
They've never seen exactly. So now you're talking to a person that you were building something with potentially if the person ended up getting engaged, because not everybody gets engaged on the show. You got 15.
Now are these all just good-looking people?
No, they're not.
Okay,
they're not.
Okay,
they're not, and they're all.
So it's not like The Bachelor or whatever, where like 35. Everyone's like
no. Everybody's not good looking. Everybody is not good looking, but me and you will be good looking on that show.
But none of them end
for some. We're not in. I mean, you're in better shape than I am, but
yeah, I mean that might be true, but I don't know about good looking. What about So none of them end up together, though, right?
Yeah, there's couples that have babies and no, absolutely. I mean, this is the 6th season, and it's probably been. At this point, probably 20 engagements, 20 to 25 engagements. There's probably only like 5 couples still together, but that's still a decent rate.
Not bad. All right. Speaking of,
that's why I didn't watch the 3-point contest, because I was hanging out and watching Love Is Blind, and then I talked to my brother. He said, "You ain't see the 3-point contest?" I said, "Nah, man."
That's terrible. That's really terrible. There's a lot of things we have to get to.
Is that not is that part of my job that I need to watch the NBA All-Star game on the weekend? If so, just let me know, because then I will make sure.
Then you'll quit?
No, not at all. 2025 I'll do it, and maybe in 2027 I'll do it in Milwaukee.
I know I happened to run into we saw the deputy commissioner of the NBA while we were in Indianapolis, and I cannot confirm or deny that a member of the Bucks organization was trying to get him to commit on the spot to a All-Star game in Milwaukee, which more hotels continue to go up in the city. I think we're getting ready. Going to have a RNC convention. Hopefully, the city represents well 2024. Got the NFL draft coming to Green Bay.
Oh, you better not have the NBA All-Star game here. I'm going to act a fool.
What?
I'm gonna act a fool. All the stars gonna be here, celebrities, Craig. I'm gonna ask for an advance so I can buy me some chains and look the part.
Yeah. I mean, All-Star Game is so fun. I mean, I was over at the Rising Stars game on Friday night. There's just a lot going on in the city and a lot of events, a lot of cool things. I mentioned we had the Woj pod on Thursday night. Paul George had his podcast. Like there's just so much going on these days. It's awesome.
It does seem fun.
We got a lot. We got a lot to talk to. But let's bring in Derek. I assume Derek's wanting to talk about Love Is Blind. Morning, Derek.
Derek said Mississippi.
Derek.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing good. I'm Liz. I love getting married, so I want to marry to a WWE superstar, Io Sky.
Okay.
Yeah, because she's my favorite WWE superstar, because I want to marry her.
Okay. Well, thanks for the call.
Do you want to marry a WWE superstar?
Do I?
Yeah. No. You said what?
I don't think so.
Oh, he said he was going to talk about marriage, and I guess that was his talking about marriage.
Yeah. I think that's a good point by Derek. I appreciate that. So, do you watch any of the hoops games yesterday?
College basketball? No. What did I do during it? I was at the movie meetup for 1017 The Truth. We had a movie meetup, so
yeah,
I was out in Mequon for that. And then I saw the end score for the Wisconsin Badgers was upset. Then I saw the end score for Marquette and said, boy, oh boy, they are not a top 5 team, but I do love Marquette.
Yeah, I mean, that was the largest defeat ever for a top 5 team in season, in a top 5 matchup as UConn, destroyed Marquette. Game started close and then just was bad. And Wisconsin seemingly, I felt like they had that game at the end of regulation. Badgers end up losing, but both teams going to the tournament. So I just thought it was worth mentioning because we're about a month away from the NCAA tournament. Marquette looking like a 2-3 seed. Wisconsin looking like maybe a 5 seed. I mean, that's what we're looking at right now.
So disappointing.
What do you mean?
Wisconsin has been so disappointing.
Not from the beginning of the season, maybe from when they peaked, you're saying?
Yeah, it's been disappointing. Wisconsin basketball has been disappointing this year for me. And I'm just talking about Bucks, Badgers, and...
Oh, you're saying everything. I mean, I understand people who have been disappointed by the Bucks. That makes sense. By the way, Jay Billis did his ranking of 1 through 68, and he has the Badgers at number 12, and he has Marquette at number 16. That's where he has his Wisconsin teams.
Yeah, I mean, neither is going to win the national championship this year.
I think they're both going to have, if both win a game in the tournament, that's pretty exciting.
Craig, what? Here we go. One game, so getting to the round of 32, that's the goal?
No, I'm not saying it's the goal. It's exciting once both teams may win a game in the tournament.
They both have potential to be Sweet 16 teams.
Exactly.
They
could both be Elite 8 teams. I mean, it's all matchups once you get into the tournament.
It is all matchups.
But that's what I'm saying. If in the country, out of the hundreds of basketball programs and all that, both teams, if they win the first round game, that's pretty exciting, right? Like, how many states are going to have two teams, in the final 32?
No, it's not. UWM was in there before, back when Wisconsin was good. And I think Marquette, I don't know if UWM and Marquette were good at the same time. But what I do know is this, is that you're going to be a 4 or 5 seed. You should be able to advance. Like, that should happen. There is Wisconsin and Marquette.
It should be, but a lot of 12s win also. I'm just saying, it's not a gimme.
I don't like these expectations that you throw around here for these Wisconsin sports teams.
All right, then let's talk about the Bucks. We going to do this?
Yeah,
we going to talk about the Bucks here?
More than happy to.
All right, so how are you feeling right now?
I'm feeling iffy. I'm giving it until... Once we get to March 15th, we get a little under a month from now, then I'll know what I want to do. I'll know how I'll feel.
So, I mean, is there really a way to have any feeling until the playoffs, like based on what we saw last year? I mean, the fact that the Bucks ended up losing in the first round, which was unthinkable for us. Now, the year before, when the Bucks won the championship 2 years earlier, it was actually thinkable. Right? The Bucks played the Heat in the first round, and they had lost in the bubble to the Miami Heat. And there was questions of if the Bucks could get by the Heat. And the Bucks ended up having a struggling first game. Chris Middleton hits the game winner. Bucks end up winning that game and sweeping the Miami Heat. But I don't think last year anyone considered that the Bucks could lose in the first round. But
not me.
Coming off of that now, I just wonder how much you can take from anything that's in the regular season, right? I mean, this is a team that has still tough schedule ahead of it and still a lot of gelling to do as a team.
I agree.
So Friday night, Bucks open the second half of the season at Minnesota. How much are you going to take from that?
I think it's a big game. I mean, they're going to be off basically from Thursday until Friday because sometimes you come back that Thursday? Some games are... So they have a week off. Giannis and Dame, who are participating in the All-Star game, Doc Rivers and his staff, they'll have some days to get back. When do those guys come back? Tuesday?
I would think so.
So to come back Tuesday, have a time to be refreshed and ready to go. I expect for Friday
and
night,
also to have practice, right?
Yeah,
which we haven't
had. They haven't had opportunity to do that under Doc Rivers. So I believe that's why I think that after this All-Star break, we should see a little bit of change for the Milwaukee Bucks. And so I think the expectation should be you beat the Minnesota Timberwolves in Minnesota on Friday. That is your first opportunity to show, okay, now is the time. Because you got to turn it on at some point, and this is where that begins. Again, March 15th, and when we will know what this team will be.
Okay, so talk me through these next 2 5-game stretches, and we should write these down because I want to hear what you have to say. So, next 5 games at Minnesota. So, because it's the next 5 and then the 5 after that. At Minnesota, at Philly, home and home against Charlotte, and then at Chicago.
You should be 4-1. You should be 4-1, but the goal should be 5-0. It should be. Philadelphia, I know they're still good without having Joel Embiid. You need to sweep Charlotte because Charlotte's not very good.
Charlotte's playing really well the last week or two.
Charlotte is not a good basketball team, so you need to sweep Charlotte and you need to beat the Bulls. So you should be looking at a 4-1 or 5-0.
And I'm saying that's 3-2 right now.
See, Craig, listen. At a certain point, you're gonna have to put higher expectations on this team. 3-2 right now.
Okay, but wait. At Minnesota, is that a win or a loss?
You should beat Minnesota. The last time you played
Minnesota's the number one team in the NBA now, or number one in the West, and they're at home. Come on, you got to assume that's a loss.
They
right?
came here and they beat up on us. We should go there and we should beat up on them. That Minnesota is playing so well right now. That's who you want to be able to compete with. They should be up for that game against Minnesota and get their lick back.
Obviously, they should be. But okay, so you're saying that's a win?
When I'm talking about 4-1, that's the one I am concerned about, but that should be one they should be up for.
See, because what I was going to say is, let's say you beat Charlotte, both games, right?
You
should. So you're 2-0 there. You're at Philly and at Chicago. I feel like you split those two.
You may split those two.
Right? Well, I mean, one of those ends up as a loss somehow, and then you lose Minnesota, so that's 3-2.
But you at a certain point, the team needs to turn it on. Like
I get that, but that's 4 out of 5 road games. 4 of those 5 games are on the road, and so to go 3-2 when you got 4 out of 5 games on the road is not bad.
So when do you start having statement wins, right? Because for me, that Denver game that I was at when they beat Denver, I was like, okay, this is good. I want us to carry some momentum where we start having statement games where you're building confidence, where you're playing competitive teams and you're beating them, but then you're playing teams that you're supposed to beat. Like I believe when they played Charlotte 2 Fridays ago, I believe it was against Charlotte, when Charlotte came to Milwaukee. Correct me if I'm wrong, Craig, if that was Charlotte that they played Friday night. I think it was a Friday night, and they beat them by like 20, 30 points. That is what we should be having, is statement games. The teams that we should beat, we're going to throttle. The teams that are good just like us, we are going to compete with and we're going to beat. That's why it's important to beat Philadelphia. That's why you need to beat Chicago. And that's why you should want to beat Minnesota, because beating Minnesota lets you establish that we are one of the top teams. It builds up your confidence in that cohesion and cohesiveness they've been missing this year.
All right, so that's the first 5. But here's what I really want to hear your take on.
Okay.
The next 5. March 4th through March 12th. Home against the Clippers, and then 4 consecutive road games at Golden State, at the Lakers, at the Clippers, at the Kings.
Yeah, if you get out of there with three wins, you're in a good position.
Right? Home Clippers, then at Golden State, at Lakers, at Clippers, at Kings.
You should want to get out of there with 3. Again, getting out of there with 3. It's all about coming out that stretch, because you're going on the West Coast as well, which is because you got LA here and then you go out on the West. Is 4 of the 5 are on the road?
Yep.
Yeah, that's tough. Going on the West Coast is always tough for the Bucks.
So you're talking about 8 of the next 10 games for the Milwaukee Bucks are now on the road. 8 of 10 on the road.
7-3.
And most of these against playoff teams.
7. If the Bucks can go 7-3, that is a turnaround for this season. 7-3. That is you're going in the right direction. 7-3 is what the Bucks need to be in order for people to feel and for themselves to feel like they're competitive. I mean, heck, for you to feel confident in the Bucks, if they go 7-3, you'll feel good. You'll feel good about the decision with Doc and everything.
No, I feel good about the decision with Doc regardless. I think for me, I would say, I mean, as crazy as it sounds, and I know that you're not going to be happy with this.
Not say 4-6 or 5.
No, I'm not going to say 4-6. 5-5, I'm good. 6-6, I'm excited.
6-4.
6-4. Sorry, 5-5, I'm good. 6-4, I'm excited because this team is figuring itself out. Like, this team just lost to Memphis without any players. Like, Memphis didn't have anybody there.
It was shooting.
Right? So if this team can go and win 5 or 6 games when 8 out of 10 are on the road, and these are against good teams, while reinventing itself, to me, that shows that they're repositioning themselves for the back end of this season. And by the way, after you're done with that, you have a back-to-back pretty soon after against Phoenix and Boston. I mean, the schedule
is tough.
That is not easy. And then you have a back-to-back later against the Knicks in Boston. I mean, there are, when people were wondering about the Adrian Griffin firing and all that, like, the Bucks had the easiest schedule in the NBA, for the first half of the season. And so it is just going to be a really, really compelling, exciting next 25 games, to end this year. I mean, this team is sitting going into the All-Star break at 35-21. So 26 games left in the year. And it is going to be fascinating to see what this team looks like. And also, the Sixers with Joel Embiid out, right? So what does the East end up looking like at the top? I had said to you, remember a few weeks ago, I thought the Cavs were going to end up, getting some distance and being that number 2 seed by the time we were done with February. Remember me saying that?
I do recall. They're hot.
And right now, the Cavs are 2.5 ahead of the Bucks and 4 ahead of the Knicks for number 2. So that was what I saw coming. So I'm not surprised with that. Right now, Bucks Pacers 3-6. You feeling that matchup?
I am not.
I mean, the Pacers will probably pass the Sixers, so the Pacers will probably end up in the 5. Bucks Heat. Are you feeling that matchup?
Yeah, I'll be fine with that.
Even with what the Heat did to the Bucks this week?
Yeah, I mean, I'm okay with it.
All right.
I'm okay with it.
Well, I heard you guys talking about this week that Jordan Love had better MVP odds than Aaron Rodgers, which Aaron Rodgers, coming into this year with the whole, HBO and everything, Aaron Rodgers was I felt like, not the favorite, but close for MVP. So Jordan Love, better odds than Aaron Rodgers to win the MVP this year. We're going to talk to Jason Wilde right now and ask him who he would think is more likely to be the MVP of the NFL this year. That's when we continue on Sunday Karma, ESPN Wisconsin.
This is Sunday Karma with Craig Karmazin on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
We've told you about Moses Hadara,
the diamond cutter who created the Kessler 81.
The magical diamond that vibrates with light.
Kessler's works with crazy diamond cutters.
Geniuses who create wonderful, spectacular,
crazy diamond shapes.
The one thing these crazy genius diamonds all have in common
is that they explode with light.
The Kessler Emerald Cut diamond sends out rippling waves of light, like water lapping onto a beach.
The Kessler Square Radiant Diamond glows like the sun on the horizon.
Sometimes sunrise,
sometimes sunset.
Come to Kessler's.
Come to Kessler's.
Come to Kessler's.
Ask to see the rippling waves of light, like water on the beach.
Ask to see the glow that looks like sunrise and sunset.
Ask to see the Kessler Crazy Genius Diamonds.
See them for yourself.
See them for yourself.
See them for yourself.
To find the Kesslers nearest you, visit KesslersDiamonds.com.
Every pass.
Lob inside. Iguodala stuffed it. Counted it.
They got to figure out who to foul now.
Man, he showed us the hammer and was fouled.
Every shot.
Cam Jones, he'll try it.
Oh my goodness.
ATM.
Every dunk.
The basket high off the glass. No good. Stuff is good by Ben Gold.
Good lob. Ben Gold.
Every single second.
Marquette 78. Butler 72.
We are your official home for Marquette Golden Eagles basketball. 94.5 ESPN.
It's Steinhaffel's biggest President's Day sale ever. Take an extra $100 off your purchase of $19.99 or more. Plus, find hundreds of amazing bonus buys store-wide. And get up to a $300 airline reward card with a qualifying purchase. See store for details. The deals don't stop there. Take an extra 10% off our already low clearance center furniture prices. Shop in-store and online at steinhaffels.com. Relax, it's Steinhaffels.
ESPN Wisconsin's Ben Brust here because Forward Healthy Lifestyles has shown me that getting older doesn't mean you have to feel older. We used to think getting older meant having less energy, less muscle, less endurance, less sex, and perhaps a bit more joint pain to wait around that waist. Not anymore. The experts at Forward Healthy Lifestyles help men optimize their hormone levels, including testosterone, providing cutting-edge regenerative medicine therapies, and even help men lose stubborn weight with programs like semaglutide. In 2024, change your life. Visit forwardhealthylifestyles.com for a free consultation.
ESPN Wisconsin's Mark Tauscher here for my friends at Kohler Services. Thinking about updating your bath or shower? Well, turn to Kohler Services for end-to-end bath and shower remodeling. Family-owned for 150 years, Kohler is your Wisconsin manufacturer providing care for life. This month only, get a free toilet with your Lugstone shower purchase, and you pay nothing until 2025. Visit KohlerServicesWI.com to request your free quote with fast, professional installation always included. Again, that's KohlerServicesWI.com.
Here in Wisconsin, one name is synonymous with fantastic frozen pizza, Palermo's. For almost 60 years, Palermo's has focused on feeding Wisconsin families. And though Palermo's has grown a lot since 1964, they're still family-owned. They're still proud to call Milwaukee home. And they're still committed to making the best frozen pizza possible. From their new and improved rising crust pizzas to their guilt-free Primo thin pies, Palermo's has a delicious slice for every appetite. Find Palermo's in your local grocer's freezer food aisle. Palermo's. Flavor is our family's business.
Football guy.
Good morning, Tausch. How are you?
Football guy.
Old T's a little. I'm not feeling 100%.
Coming at it from different views.
No, just I think with all that little stuff that's going around, and you had the long trip back from the loo. I'm gonna grind.
Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Also sponsored by Coors Light. Weekdays 9 to noon on 94.5 ESPN, and available wherever you get your podcasts with Wisconsin On Demand.
Hi, this is John Neal, CPA, founder of Right Choice Tax Resolution and best-selling author on how to have less stress with the IRS. It's 2024 and an election year. The politicians are out there promising things they won't deliver. One thing is certain. Taxes are what pays for those promises. The IRS collects those taxes, and man, can they be brutal. My latest book has advice on what to do to avoid trouble with the IRS. We help you file back tax returns, get liens released, set up payment plans, represent you in audits, and get penalties reduced or eliminated. Some recent clients we helped include getting a $40,000 tax bill reduced by $32,000, filing a 2020 tax return to get a $7,000 refund, and negotiating a payment plan for $250 a month on a $30,000 tax bill. Make the right choice. Go to rightchoicetax.us to book a call or in-person meeting right now. We know you want to take the first step in getting the IRS off your back so you can live again. That's rightchoicetax.us.
Jason Wilde is brought to you by Boucher Automotive, where we ride with you every mile. 18 dealerships, 15 brands, and thousands of vehicles in stock. Check them out at Boucher.com.
Good morning, Jason.
Good morning, Craig. Good morning, Kyle. How are you guys today?
We are great. Kyle doesn't have his mic in front of his face, so when you say, how are you guys, he's not going to answer.
I know.
Doing great, Jason.
He's never ready. Hey, buddy.
He's not always there when you call, but he's always on time. Right?
Yes, that is the line.
Right? Okay.
Kyle Wallace, one call, that's all. He might not answer, though.
Yes, not the line. So, Jason, who's getting your MVP vote if you had to, or your MVP bet? I know you're a wagering guy, and
huge wager.
At times, some have even worried if your family was in jeopardy based on your aggressiveness when it comes to the horses and the doggies.
Yeah.
Actually, you're going to go more bankrupt like rescuing dogs than you would be like betting on dog races. So,
very fair.
If you had to wager that MVP bet for 2024, Aaron Rodgers for MVP or Jordan Love for MVP?
So what are the so I think if I remember correctly, because Bulaga and I did this on Thursday as well, and maybe the lines have changed, but Love was 10-1.
Because a lot's happened in the NFL this week.
Yes, exactly.
So
and Rodgers was 20-1, at least the ones that I had seen.
Yeah, and I think that's a fair. I mean, you look at different ones, they're off a little bit, but I mean, Jordan Love is a heavy favorite over Aaron when it comes to the MVP race right now.
Yeah, and look, I get it. I would not wager on Rodgers right now, only because not only is there the issue of his own health, but there's also certainly a level of concern about just how dysfunctional that organization is, right? Like, and he has contributed to that. Let's not let him off the hook necessarily, because I think there's a lot of people in their building that if Aaron Rodgers wasn't the quarterback, they would make sure that Nathaniel Hackett wasn't the coordinator anymore. Fair? So I think I would steer clear of him regardless of how I felt about Love. My concern's not the right word, but I think we have to remember that as great as Jordan Love was for those 9 games and as excited as you should be about where he is, I do think, and this is me just being the killjoy that I am, I do think you have to make sure you remind yourself that as good as he was, there are going to be more growing pains. They won't be as pronounced as it was early in the season. Remember when they couldn't score in the first half, and in the Minnesota game, the crowd delivered a Bronx cheer when they got their first down late in the second quarter? Like, I don't think they're going to be that pronounced, but I firmly believe that now that he has an entire 17-game schedule's worth of film, that defensive coordinators are going to have a better understanding of how to defend him. And that doesn't mean that he's not going to rise to the occasion, but it means there's going to be some challenging games still. And so do I think he's an MVP candidate? I do. Do I think C.J. Stroud is? Sure. I think all the regular suspects are as well. It's hard to win the Super Bowl. It's also hard to win MVP. Ask Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers, who have 7 between them, but they still had a couple of seasons where they easily could have been the MVP and didn't win it because someone else had an even better season, right? 16, for example, Matt Ryan was the MVP, but you could have made a very strong case, especially with what he did the last 8 games, that Rodgers would have won had Matt Ryan had a typical Matt Ryan season. So my point is that Jordan Love is trending in an awesome direction. I know Kyle is over his skis and excitement about it, but I don't know if I'm quite ready to say that I would make him a favorite to win the 2024 MVP.
According to my Chat GPT, I asked how many players won the MVP in their second year.
As a starter.
Right. And it's not giving me an accurate, because it's giving me Dan Marino and Patrick Mahomes. Which, do we think there are...
Mahomes won in the second season?
They're saying in 2018, Mahomes in 2018. So would that have been his second year?
Yeah. And well, if he was drafted in 17 and he sat for a year behind Alex Smith, then he would have won it in his first season as the starter. I got to be honest, I don't know his bio as well as I know the quarterbacks that I actually cover.
Yeah, because I was thinking Lamar Jackson in 2019, how many years had he actually, because that's, he's in 2018, he got some snaps and played a little, and I think even played in the postseason. But 2019, he won the MVP.
Yeah, well then.
I mean, there are examples like this, right? Yeah. Where it's like your second year starting and you have that major jump and you're able to do it. Now, as you mentioned, C.J. Stroud, has as good a chance of making that jump in our mind, but Jordan Love is 12-1 right now on DraftKings. C.J. Stroud is 14-1. By the way, I should be looking at ESPN Bet. I don't know if ESPN Bet has their MVP odds up for next year, but that should be my source here. But it is, it's incredible to think that. And I think Aaron Rodgers right now, I think you'd have to think about very naturally as that comeback player of the year candidate, right? As at his age, if he were to come back, some people were even, if you looked at the odds, he was in the top 7 or 8 odds to win comeback player of the year this year. When there was about a month and a half to go in the season, because I think people were still thinking there was a chance he would come back and make an impact this year. So, Jason, let's make a quick jump from the Jordan Love, Aaron Rodgers discussion to what happens now with David Bakhtiari. There's been a bunch of reports that he will be cut by the Packers. Is that safe to assume? Is that a possibility? How do you categorize? Is that a formality? How do you categorize David Bakhtiari being cut by the Packers?
A likelihood is how I would categorize it. Look, I think that it just makes too much financial sense, but it also makes too much sense given the Packers don't want to get caught in the same situation they just were in last year, right? That was the worst case scenario. They adjusted his contract. They did I hate it when people say that they restructured his deal, because there's really two ways to do it. You can restructure the deal as a pay cut, and that's really a pay cut. That's not a restructuring. And then the other restructure is more what we call a cap conversion, which I think the guy from Spotrac was the first one to coin that phrase, and I thought it was a really good way to view it, because the player isn't taking a pay cut in that instance. And David Bakhtiari most certainly did not take a pay cut last year. He got a bunch of money guaranteed up front because they wanted to create cap space, and they believed he was going to be healthy and able to play. It turned out they were wrong. He played one game, and that, I would think, is their number one fear. They don't know where he'll be at health-wise, and they don't want to get caught in a situation where they kind of believe their hopes and then end up getting burned again and having him on their cap for a bunch of money. They save $21 million in cap space if they move on from him. He would be about $19 million in dead cap money, or he'd be like, his cap number is almost $40 million, but his salary for next season is like $21 million. So they would save that huge amount off their cap. The net would be a big cap savings, and there's not any way that they're going to pass up the opportunity to save that much cap space.
And so is the natural... Kyle, did you have something there?
Oh, who's the next left tackle? Do we already have the left tackle on the roster, or are we looking to draft somebody, Jason?
I think they're hoping that that Rasheed Walker is good enough to be the guy, but hope is not a strategy, as you well know. And so if they're sitting there at 25 and there is a top-flight offensive tackle who's available, I would expect them to pick him. Because I don't think you pick safeties in the first round. We know how that went with Clinton Dix, and quite frankly,
Darnell Savage.
Darnell Savage has not lived up to first-round expectations either. So I would anticipate that if they have, I was saying this to Bulaga when he did the show on Thursday when Tausch was out, Bulaga was viewed by many as a potential top 10 pick, and he ended up obviously going much later to the Packers, and it was a huge win for them. Now, he didn't end up playing left tackle for his career, but he was an outstanding player for more than a decade. And so if they have that opportunity at a Bulaga type who falls because of short arms or whatever it was that Brian did, I would think they would jump on him.
So, and is there a thought that Bakhtiari goes to the Jets, or do you think the Jets are done playing like the Aaron's or GM game?
I think, again, I don't spend enough time around the Jets to know exactly what they're thinking, but I think their offensive line is so horrible that they would more than seriously consider bringing in that friend of Aaron Rodgers. Now, friends of Aaron Rodgers have not worked out great for them, right? I mean, Allen Lazard, I think we all kind of talked about this as he was going into free agency. He was a number one in 2022 merely because the Packers didn't have anybody better. And he was one of the few people that Rodgers obviously trusted, right? He had no business getting a $44 million contract. He was a number 3 playing in a number 1 role for the Packers. And I think the Jets, again, looking to make Aaron Rodgers happy and frankly, improve their recruitment of him, because that trade had not happened when they signed Lazard. They overpaid him because he was an FOA, friend of Aaron. I don't think Bakhtiari, if healthy, is you pay him to make Aaron Rodgers happy. He is you pay him and sign him if you're convinced he's going to be able to do what Andrew Whitworth had done, where he was great with the Cincinnati Bengals and then had a second act that was really, really good for the Los Angeles Rams. Again, I don't know how healthy Bakhtiari will be and whether he's capable of doing that because of this knee. Like, remember, this surgery was a very invasive surgery, his 5th one on that knee since the injury. So how do you go about that if you're the Jets? Because your offensive line sucks. He would definitely be an upgrade if he's able to play, but you would have to structure it in a way that he can make big-time top left tackle dollars based on incentives and how many games he's active for, because you cannot, and they certainly don't have the cap space. to go out and pay a guy and then have him play one game like he did for the Packers this year.
Yeah, Jason, you've brought up the idea that you could very much see a scenario where 4 or 5 years, Bakhtiari still has like a career left in him. So be interesting to see. We have more with Jason Wilde, including some thoughts coming off of the Super Bowl as we continue. It's Sunday Karma, ESPN Wisconsin.
This is Sunday Karma with Craig Karmazin on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
Go beyond your field of study and get a world-class education in leadership by joining the U.S. Army ROTC. Army ROTC programs transform students into confident leaders and provide a wide range of scholarships to help pursue life-defining careers. As an Army officer, you'll work side by side with peers who support your growth. Gain the experience and get the resources to open doors down the road. Army ROTC is open for enrollment. Visit goarmy.com/ROTC to learn more about available opportunities and scholarships, including at Marquette University.
That to-do list you have needs one more thing. Chill. It's an easy thing to do. Just crack open an ice-cold Coors Light and chill. Take the afternoon off and binge watch anything. Go to happy hour and stay for a couple hours. Who's counting anyways? Or hang out with just your dog, because you've had enough human interaction this week. Whatever you do it with a Coors Light. Mountain Cold Refreshment made to chill. 2020 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Celebrate responsibly.
Stop in for your chance at huge savings during Fleet Farm's Balloon Pop event. This Saturday, February 24th, the first 300 shoppers will get a ticket to Shop and Pop for 10 to 100% off their entire purchase. Doors open at 7 a.m., so come on down, fill your cart, and pop a balloon to see how much you've saved. Don't miss Fleet Farm's Balloon Pop to score even more savings on everything you need for everyday life this Saturday only.
Life is full of moments, from first steps to first loves, moments that make life special. Now, life can also bring us difficult and disruptive moments like a cancer diagnosis, which is why the groundbreaking work of Stand Up to Cancer is so vital. They know the problem of cancer won't be solved by one doctor, one lab, or one hospital. It takes collaboration. That's why Stand Up to Cancer brings together top minds from different fields to find new and better treatments so patients can thrive. So when it matters, we can all show up for moments of a lifetime. Please join Stand Up to Cancer and Myrtle Beach to help families get back to where they belong, making new memories for years to come. Please go to standuptocancer.org to see how you can join the mission.
Whether it's live or in podcast form, you've heard us on air with all of our shenanigans.
Gabe, I'm throwing some... Why are you throwing... I don't want...
Now see your favorite 94.5 ESPN shows streaming on video.
By me, by the way. I hit that microphone like 4 out of 6 times on that.
Subscribe to ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube and get notified when we hit the air live. Plus, you can watch back any second that you miss and see original digital content too. Watch, listen, interact. ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube.
Get ready for an unforgettable week at Eagle Sports Range, Wisconsin's largest indoor range and retail firearm selection. They're celebrating their grand opening on February 16th through the 18th. 3 days of action-packed festivities featuring representatives from brands like Smith & Wesson, FN, and Vortex. It's your chance to meet the experts and get up close with the latest innovations in the industry. Plus, brace yourself for thrilling raffles, unbeatable sales, and much, much more. It's not just an event, it's an experience. Be part of the excitement from February 16th through the 18th. Eagle Sports Range, where passion meets expertise. EagleSportsRange.com.
This is ESPN Wisconsin's Brad Nortman, here to tell you about my favorite go-to drink. That's Carbless. Carbless is a ready-to-drink, handcrafted vodka and tequila cocktail. Even better, it's 0 carbs, 0 sugar, 0 gluten, and just 100 calories. And listen to this, less carbonation. This leads to less bloat. I can indulge in something delicious without having that health guilt. Carbless is crafted right here in Wisconsin. It has a flavor for everyone, from black raspberry to cranberry, pineapple and lemon, and my favorite, margarita. Find Carbless online and at a retailer near you. Less is more.
Jason Wilde is brought to you by Boucher Automotive, where we ride with you every mile. 18 dealerships, 15 brands, and thousands of vehicles in stock. Check them out at Boucher.com.
So it was a memorable Super Bowl that we have yet to talk about. Kyle, did the Super Bowl keep you away from 90 Day Fiancé and Love is Blind last Sunday?
Love is Blind wasn't out yet for this season, and also they did not run, they weren't trying to run against that magnificent event we call the Super Bowl, so they did not air last week, but I would have watched the Super Bowl over 90 Day Fiancé and Love is Blind.
Wow, that is the ultimate statement of what the Super Bowl has become in our nation, that it could keep Kyle away from 90 Day Fiancé and Love is Blind. So,
thank you for your sacrifice.
Jason,
You're welcome.
Am I the only one who, when I'm watching Patrick Mahomes, was thinking a lot about Aaron Rodgers and thinking like, God, Patrick Mahomes is the only guy I've seen play this quarterback position in the way Aaron did when he had his kind of peak athleticism. Because I think on the field, they are so similar. I mean, do you see that when you see Patrick Mahomes playing?
I do. I mean, I think people, obviously, when you think about Rodgers now, you don't see him as well, you didn't see him do anything because he only played 4 snaps this past year. But, Mahomes, and in fairness to Jordan Love, I think Jordan Love is in this vein as well, that whereas someone like Lamar Jackson runs to run and also has the ability to just be elusive to extend plays, I think Rodgers and Mahomes are two of the greatest examples of guys who are really effective at extending plays, and they will run on occasion, but their mentality when running is create an opportunity to make a throw.
But Jason, it's the way they run, but it's their touch, it's the way how smart they are. Like, there's so many things on the field that when I'm watching, Mahomes, and I'm like, God, this guy's been in the AFC Championship every year of his career, which it felt like Aaron was, pretty much every year for a while there. But like that little extra difference of what Mahomes has accomplished on the field, or that little extra difference has led to a big difference of what he's accomplished on the field compared to what Aaron has. And I just wonder, when we look back on it, how much of this is the physical and the football ability, and how much of this is either Aaron's leadership, Aaron's difficulty, or the Packers as an organization. Basically it's like, who do you blame for the fact that Mahomes has already won 3 and been to more, and Aaron, has only been to 1, and he's played 3 times the amount of seasons.
Yeah, and I don't think you're the only one who was thinking this way, because we spent time talking about it, and I know for Tausch, this was a topic that really resonated with him. The problem is that there's all kinds of people to blame, including Aaron Rodgers, right? I mean, there's no denying that there were certain games with the season on the line when he came through big time, and there were certain games where he didn't play well at all. And so, there are a few.
And are you saying, hey, you know what? No matter what, Patrick Mahomes had MVS to have to throw to, and he proved he could still do it. That Aaron Rodgers against the Buccaneers, defense turns over Brady 3 times. I don't care that Bakhtiari's out. I don't care about that. You got Devontae Adams. You got your guys. You need to get 7 points there, and you need to win the game if you're going to be, the best quarterback of all time.
Yep. That is, for me, there are 2 games in his playoff history more than others that stand out as he did not deliver. And I'll say this, one of my frustrations with him, and I've told you this before, is that I feel like there have been instances over the years where he had an opportunity to take ownership for his failings and how they directly impacted the team's failings, and he did not do that.
But I thought, Jason, I think he hated the team and the leadership so much that instead of taking the approach, however mentally Patrick Mahomes was able to do it, which is like, hey, I'll I'll make MVS into like a guy I can count on. Aaron was very quick when it didn't work out to be like, yeah, that's because I had MVS, or you know that would be the same roster, different rationale after you lose. And Patrick Mahomes just obviously was not going to let them lose.
Yeah, and frankly, I would say that MVS reminded us of what you get with him, the good and the bad, because
he was
the
terrible.
Touchdown catch he has.
He was
in the
terrible.
Super Bowl,
terrible.
He nearly drops, right? And then he also has the play that was just, I don't know how you managed to not understand the situation.
When he went backwards?
Backing up. Yes, exactly. But my point is that, look, there's one game where you would have loved for Rodgers to have been better than he was, but fans and certain folks that are critical of him, I think, forget that he had a torn calf. I mean, the story of the 2014 season, that is the fact that they were in the position they were, and they had all 7 plays that had to go wrong for them to lose that game. That was such a legacy-changing game for all of the principals involved, right? For Rodgers, for McCarthy, for Thompson, because they win the game and they go to their second Super Bowl together as that kind of leadership triumvirate, and their legacies are different.
And just take me through that,
Especially
Jason.
if they win.
Take me through that. Did Aaron? I know obviously Russell scores, gets the ball back, scores again. You know, all of that. And what I mean in that game, where did Aaron? Is it about the first half that he didn't score touchdowns, or is there something he did down the stretch where you look back and say Aaron didn't do what Mahomes would have done?
Yeah, they had a couple of possessions late when the wheels were falling off, where they didn't get any yardage.
So basically, a first
down,
a first down ices the game, and they couldn't do it.
No, and early in the game, he missed some throws. Now, again, revisionist history, but there is the play that I always have thought was one of the critical moments early in the game is when he clearly has, and you go back and look at the game, clearly has Michael Bennett offsides, and he throws an interception in the end zone that Richard Sherman picks off. That should have been a free play, and the play should have counted, because God knows we saw him throw interceptions on free plays because he knew there was no risk involved. That was one of the few times he would take those chances, was when he knew there was no downside. And that play ends up being officiated as Bennett not being offsides. He clearly was. That is a crucial failure on that series. And obviously when the game ends the way it does, that would have been a difference-making possession if they'd have even gotten 3 points. That said, he's playing with a torn calf. He played well enough for them to win. We all know that. So that one I don't hold against him. But the NFC Championship game in 2020, in January of 2021, and then his performance.
And so that's the game against Brady. So that's the game against Brady
that's the game
at
against
home.
Brady.
Yep.
And then the following year, and this is another reason why people, I think, are soured on him, is because his final 2 playoff games were both such catastrophic disappointments in which he did not play well enough. And if you are one of the all-time greats, you elevate your team in those situations, and he failed to do it, because then the next playoff game they play, remember, they switch in 2021 to the 17-game schedule, so there's only one, and they expand the playoffs, so there's only one bye. The Packers get it. They get the first weekend off. They play at home against the 49ers in the divisional round. They lose, what was the final, 13-10? And yes, the defense failed to get the stop, leading to the field goal. Yes, the special teams were a train wreck and gave up the blocked kick for a touchdown. But if you have Aaron Rodgers in that game, you have to expect him to deliver more than one touchdown.
And he threw the bad pass.
On the line.
Even was it to Aaron Rodgers? Was it to Aaron Jones, the deep ball that should have been a touchdown that he missed, that he didn't throw great, that ended up not as a touchdown?
Well, the throw that I guess I don't remember that one as much as I remember them having the ball late, and he has Alan Lazard open to his left, and he forces the ball to Devontae Adams, and it gets intercepted. Right. I mean, that with the game on the line, with a chance that at minimum force overtime, and that's the difference between how we perceive Patrick Mahomes and how we view Aaron Rodgers.
Wait, does
Because
it get
at the end of
intercepted? I have here Aaron 20 of 29 for 225. No touchdowns, no interceptions in the 21 playoffs.
Oh, so he throws. Well, who does he throw the interception to then? Well, he throws an interception at the end of the Detroit. And by the way, the Detroit game should be part of his playoff resume too, right?
Yep.
Because it was a win-and-you're-in game, and he definitely throws an interception on his last pass as a Packer. Maybe he throws incomplete to Devontae down the field,
Jason,
but there's a. Yes,
Jason, as you say all this, right? I'm getting excited when I hear all this because Aaron Rodgers, to me, he was a great quarterback. But you talking about kind of the end of the road in all of his failures, and then I think about specifically the Detroit game. The last time he was a Green Bay Packer, when he could not get it done in a win-in-your-end situation against a good Detroit team, I watched Jordan Love rip off 3 games in a row and then have a magnificent game in his playoff debut. Doesn't that just make you excited for the future of what Jordan Love can be? We're literally talking about what Aaron Rodgers couldn't do at the end of his career in Green Bay, but Jordan Love did it the following year.
Yeah, well, unless Jordan Love is going to be Patrick Mahomes-esque, we are going to have these future conversations about him failing in the playoffs. And that's the problem with the playoffs, right? Is that how much time do we spend talking about earlier in the playoff rounds performances, right? Like, yes, we sometimes bring up the throw that Rodgers makes in Dallas to Jared Cook and them kicking the game-winning field goal. But do we talk about that more, or do we talk more about Seattle, or do we talk more about losing to Brady? Like, it doesn't matter. Those NFC wild card and divisional round games, while they certainly count and they certainly matter in the moment, what really matters is what you do the next week after you advance. And for you as a Packers fan, there were too many instances after the 2010 team won the Super Bowl 45 where they didn't ultimately get it done. And there were there's another one, 2013, right? Rodgers comes back from the broken collarbone and they win in Chicago. And there is an incredible euphoria for what they do in that game, right? I mean, he converts 3 different fourth downs on his way to the touchdown to Cobb to win it. The next week, they play San Francisco at home, the same team that had run them out of the gym with Kaepernick the previous year in 2012, and he didn't play great. Now, I would say, call me an apologist if you want, but here's a guy who had played 1 game since coming back from his collarbone injury, and he didn't play well in that game against the 49ers. But it still ended up being the end of their season, and they should have won that game at home. There were just too many instances. Then you get 14 with Seattle. Then you have 15, which was a mess of a season to begin with. But if you remember their 15 exit, Rodgers throws the back-to-back Hail Marys to Jeff Janis that put them in position to force overtime, which they had no business probably getting to. 16, they go on the run-the-table run, which, again, memorable stretch. I was comparing what Jordan Love did during his 9 games leading into San Francisco with what Rodgers did in the 8 games leading into the NFC Championship game. Their numbers were very, very similar, which is why you should be excited, Kyle. But we don't really get super excited about run the table because they get run out of the gym by the Falcons, and then that's it. 17 and 18.
But by the way, Jason, in that postseason, Aaron Rodgers, 9 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, threw for over 1,000 yards in those 3 games. I mean, so Aaron, you didn't feel like Aaron could have done anything more, right?
Right. It wasn't his fault that they lost in Atlanta. But then, they're off to a 4-1 start in 17. That is one of those seasons that I would have loved to have seen what happens if he never breaks his collarbone. Because 17, they were humming going into that Minnesota game. They had, if you remember, Davante Adams had emerged as the number 1. Like, Jordy knew that Davante was the guy. And my favorite Davante Adams story, and that's saying something because there's a lot of them for me, is that they go to Dallas, Rodgers throws to him with the game on the line for the game-winning touchdown and misses him. And Davante Adams, and this is a rite of passage for him of who he became, as the number one receiver, comes back to the huddle and says, run that play again, but throw a better ball, and it'll be a touchdown. The fact that he had reached that point to say that to Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers listened, and Aaron Rodgers threw that touchdown pass, I will always wonder what the 17th season might have been if he doesn't break his collarbone when Anthony Barr throws him down on the turf after he's thrown the ball. So then 18 is a train wreck. Him and McCarthy had reached the end of the road. Then LaFleur comes in at 19. They probably shouldn't have made it as far as they did to be in that NFC Championship game. Obviously, they get beat. Can't stop the run to save their lives.
Turns out Raheem Mostert is better than we thought, though.
In fairness, sure. And then we just talked about 20 and 21. So the disappointments do pile up, Kyle, and I get that. But I would push back on you and simply say Jordan Love is going to have some great playoff games in the future. I believe that wholeheartedly. He's going to have some games where we're going to be talking about how awesome he was. And then there's a chance that he's also going to have the very next week games where he's like, oh, man, he threw 3 picks in that game, or he lost that critical fumble in a critical moment. Like, that's the reality of playoff football, and it always ends up. You hear players and coaches talk about all the time that only one team gets to be happy at the end. It's because it's true. Because they're all competitors, and they're all, it was great that we beat Team X in the divisional round, but then we got beat in the NFC Championship game, and it sucked. And it bothered me more than I enjoyed the win the previous week.
Kyle, if I told you if I told you Patrick Mahomes had 45 touchdowns and 13 interceptions in his postseason career, would you be surprised? 45 touchdowns, 13 interceptions?
No, I wouldn't be surprised.
That's actually Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers was on fire early on.
I knew that's what you were doing.
Yeah,
So now Mahomes has 41 touchdowns and 8 interceptions.
In significantly less games, correct?
Or
years. I don't know about games. He's played so many
this
games.
is where it's interesting. Patrick Mahomes' first postseason game was 2018. Aaron Rodgers was in 2007. Patrick Mahomes has won 4 more games already than Aaron Rodgers. Patrick Mahomes is 15-3 in the postseason. Aaron Rodgers is 11-10. Jason, that's where I just when I watch both of them play, I don't see that big a difference. And that's why I'm saying it's just amazing. Whatever that little difference is, whether that's how he is with the coaches, whether that's how he is as a leader, whether that's how it just doesn't seem like it's physical, but maybe it is. Maybe it is that little difference between making the right play, the right throw, the right in the moment.
Could it also be the little differences of having some better defenses? Could it be the little differences of how many of those playoff games until this year? Patrick Mahomes, what he did this year is more impressive to me than anything else he had done to this point, because he had a ragamuffin crew of pass catchers other than Kelsey, who was no spring chicken, and he had to go on the road to win 2 playoff games. And that was the other disappointment for the Packers losing, and I understand it was Tausch and Max were in the stands for the NFC Championship game, but it was a minimal number of fans that were allowed. That was the COVID year. That was the only NFC Championship game Rodgers ever played at home. All the rest were played on the road. And so, it's great that Mahomes is 15-3. He deserves all the credit in the world for that playoff record. But before this season, he had never played a playoff game on the road. He'd had Super Bowls in what do you call that one? It's a neutral site, but everything else had been at home. And Aaron Rodgers, for most of his career, was playing road playoff games. And so, again, is that the small difference? If you compare the two defenses through the years of each of those 2 quarterbacks, are there appreciable differences in how good one's defenses were versus the other? I think it's safe to say that Patrick Mahomes has had better defenses than Rodgers had. But again, that doesn't let Rodgers off the hook for some of those games where if you are one of the all-time greats, which I believe he is, he should have played better and delivered more than he did. And I think of 2020 and 2021 as the 2 most glaring examples, which happen to be his last 2 years in the playoffs as the Packers starting quarterback.
Kyle, 6 years for Mahomes. 3 Super Bowls, 2 losses to Brady, 1 loss to Burrow. I mean, that's wild, right?
Yeah.
4 Super Bowls, right? 4 Super Bowls.
No, 3 Super Bowl wins, 1 Super Bowl loss to Brady, 1 AFC loss to Brady, and 1 AFC loss to Burrow.
I hope 6 years from now we're talking about Jordan Love in the same breath as Pat Mahomes.
Dude, come on.
I mean,
in the same breath.
Can I not hope and dream?
That is.
The Packers have a great roster around them, a developing roster.
I think you should hope that we're talking about him in the same breath as Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, I would love that too.
Yeah.
Just with more Super Bowl appearances.
Yeah, I'm saying, but even if he had gotten that 1 win in his first 6 years, I think that's a pretty good start to a career.
Be happy. I need a Super Bowl title, Jason.
Exactly. All right, Jason,
I hope you get it.
We appreciate it as always. Have a good week.
All right, guys. Take care. Be good.
There he is, Jason Wilde. We'll get to your 7 at 11:30 coming up soon. It's Sunday Karma, ESPN Wisconsin.
You're listening to Sunday Karma with Craig Karmazin on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
ESPN Wisconsin's Ben Brust here because Forward Healthy Lifestyles has shown me that getting older doesn't mean you have to feel older. We used to think getting older meant having less energy, less muscle, less endurance, less sex, and perhaps a bit more joint pain to wait around that waist. Not anymore. The experts at Forward Healthy Lifestyles help men optimize their hormone levels, including testosterone, providing cutting-edge regenerative medicine therapies, and even help men lose stubborn weight with programs like semaglutide. In 2024, change your life. Visit ForwardHealthyLifestyles.com for a free consultation.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Gabe Neitzel from Jen, Gabe, and Chewy here. Don't let the chilly weather end your golf season. X-Golf and American Family Field is open all year round. They've got innovative and accurate golf simulators, all overlooking left field at AmFam Field. Enjoy daily lunch specials or have an outing with your friends and take in X-Golf's full bar and food menus. X-Golf AmFam Field is even offering golf lessons by a PGA Pro. Everyone is welcome at X-Golf AmFam. Book your sim today, xgolfamfamfield.com. I'll see you out there.
Do you know or work with kids who have special healthcare needs? Help them live their best lives. Contact Wisconsin Wayfinder Children's Resource Network. Our specialists will connect you with services in your area. Wisconsin Wayfinder is free and confidential. Call 877-947-2929 or visit dhs.wi.gov/WISCWAY. Connect today. Sponsored by the Wisconsin Department of Health Services.
Hey, remember when we were having conversations without words like inflation, recession? Yeah, I miss those days too. So at Quick Trip, we're feeling a bit nostalgic. So we've lowered the prices on all our take-home meals. Every day, not on second Tuesdays or every Good Friday. Every day, make your next meal a trip down savings lane with chicken, bacon, mac and cheese, just $4.99. Or spaghetti and meatballs, $5.99. Quick Trip. We got mealtime savings nostalgia covered.
That to-do list you have needs one more thing. Chill. It's an easy thing to do. Just crack open an ice-cold Coors Light and chill. Take the afternoon off and binge watch anything. Go to happy hour and stay for a couple hours. Who's counting anyways? Or hang out with just your dog, because you've had enough human interaction this week. Whatever you do it with a Coors Light. Mountain cold refreshment made to chill. 2020 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Celebrate responsibly.
Marquette Hall of Famer Tony Smith here. You're listening to the home of Marquette basketball. 94.5 ESPN is WKTI and WKTI HD Milwaukee.
A locally owned Good Karma brand station. It's Sunday Karma with Craig Karmazin on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
Ain't no hold 'em. So lay your cards down.
You into this?
Is this the Beyonce country song?
Beyonce country. So you got all these Beyonce fans and the Beehive and all these black folks in the country now.
I think it's good.
No, it's good. I like it.
I don't like country music in general. Like, it's not a genre that I gravitate toward, but it doesn't mean there aren't good country songs, and this feels like a good country song.
Yeah, you like Beyonce too, don't you? You're a fan.
I like Beyonce, but I don't know if I like Beyonce. I wouldn't say like I'm like a super fan of Beyonce.
No, but you like her, and I think there's a collab coming between her and Taylor Swift.
Yeah. No, I like Beyonce a lot. I mean, I just don't feel like I'm as familiar with like all of her music as like a super fan would be of Beyonce.
You don't want to do that. That'd be too much.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I want to try to like act like I know too much about Beyonce and her music. But about the Super Bowl. First of all, did Usher live up to your hype on Usher?
Usher was good. I was singing. I was at that Super Bowl party I didn't really want to be at. It turned out okay. But I was at actually a really funny story. So Usher, you watched it. You watched the halftime show. And before he took his shirt off, he was gyrating and thrusting his hips. And my lady said, "Oh!" She screamed out loud and exhaled because Usher was gyrating his hips and then took his shirt off. I didn't know if I should be offended or not, so I put my hands over her eyes and say, hey, stop watching all that hip moving and gyrating.
I thought that would maybe get her excited, which you'd like. But so as you got into that second half of the game, like it felt like there were so many things that had to happen to get the Chiefs in position, right? The special teams mistake by the 49ers and the coin toss in overtime and the decision to take. So first of all, what did you think about that decision to take the ball by the 49ers?
I swear to you, Craig, as soon as they said they wanted to receive.
And you're a college football fan, so you've seen a lot of teams in this scenario because this is not the normal NFL scenario that we're used to. This is actually the college football overtime scenario, right? I mean, or at least closer to it.
It is. And to me, it's like, why are you receiving the ball? I did not understand why they were. I said, what are they doing? Why are they receiving the ball? To me, Kyle Shanahan was unprepared. He really was. He was ill-prepared for that moment. He did not do his due diligence in making sure every detail was figured out going into that game.
Now, you don't think the only thing I said in the moment, because I got a text right away being like, what is he doing? I'm like, oh, he must feel like his defense is tired because they were just on the field for that whole long Patrick Mahomes drive, and he needs them to get some rest.
No, you do not let Patrick Mahomes get the ball second. Because when Patrick Mahomes gets the ball second, he knows what he needs to do. And the last thing you want is a dude like that. We talked about Kobe before, about how Kobe would have that killer instinct. He is the Kobe. He is the MJ of the NFL.
I don't think it's about knowing what he needs to do, because I think he'd want a touchdown either way.
But your play call is different. The scenarios are different. You go for it. You go for it on fourth down.
Well, that's what I think is the difference. I don't think it's just knowing what he needs to do. It's like you're giving Patrick Mahomes 4 downs to get 10 yards instead of 3 downs to get 10 yards. So I think that's the pretty significant difference that we saw there. All right, let's get into it. It is our 7 at 11 coming up next. It's Sunday Karma. And by the way, get your NBA on. It's NBA All-Star Sunday, ESPN Wisconsin.
This is Sunday Karma with Craig Karmazin on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
Golfers, listen up. It's Gabe Neitzel from On the Tee, and we are heading to Scotland with our friends at Wisconsin Golf Trips. That's right, Scotland. You can join myself and Stephen Watson as we head overseas to play some of the best courses in the world. This package includes green fees, lodging, transportation, and more. But there are only a limited amount of spots available, so sign up now. For information on the trip and a link for paying, you can text GOLF right now to the ESPN Milwaukee Talk and Text line at 800-990-3776. That's GOLF to 800-990-3776.
Right now, the prices of diamonds are probably the lowest we'll see in our lifetime.
Diamond prices are low, low, low. Here's why.
It was hard to meet new people during COVID.
When a person meets their soulmate, they usually get engaged about 39 months later.
People started dating again only about 36 months ago.
Most of the people who got engaged during COVID
or immediately after COVID
were already in a relationship before the COVID lockdown began.
The Wall Street Journal even published a story about all of this.
Low sales of engagement rings created a worldwide oversupply of diamonds.
But now, engagement ring sales are beginning to pick up again.
By the end of next spring, this temporary oversupply will be gone.
And diamond prices will start climbing like crazy.
If you ever wanted to own a big diamond, this is the year to do it.
Find the Kesslers nearest you at KesslersDiamonds.com.
If you want to own a big diamond, the time is now.
Cousins Subs features only the finest Wisconsin-made cheeses and dairy on their menu. And now the time has come for even more cheese, as Cousins is happy to introduce their new Cheddar Supreme cheese sauce. Order this cheesy treat on their new cheese fries or add cheese sauce to your favorite sub. And for a limited time, indulge in chili cheese fries. More cheese? Yes, please. Order today at any location, online, or via Cousins mobile app. Cousins Subs. We believe in better.
Get ready for an unforgettable week at Eagle Sports Range, Wisconsin's largest indoor range and retail firearm selection. They're celebrating their grand opening on February 16th through the 18th. 3 days of action-packed festivities featuring representatives from brands like Smith & Wesson, FN, and Vortex. It's your chance to meet the experts and get up close with the latest innovations in the industry. Plus, brace yourself for thrilling raffles, unbeatable sales, and much, much more. It's not just an event, it's an experience. Be part of the excitement from February 16th through the 18th. Eagle Sports Range, where passion meets expertise. EagleSportsRange.com.
ESPN Wisconsin's Ben Brust here because Forward Healthy Lifestyles has shown me that getting older doesn't mean you have to feel older. We used to think getting older meant having less energy, less muscle, less endurance, less sex, and perhaps a bit more joint pain and weight around that waist. Not anymore. The experts at Forward Healthy Lifestyles help men optimize their hormone levels, including testosterone, providing cutting-edge regenerative medicine therapies, and even help men lose stubborn weight with programs like semaglutide. In 2024, change your life. Visit ForwardHealthyLifestyles.com for a free consultation.
Your bathroom is boring and basic too. It seems like there's nothing you can do. A better bath awaits. You'll feel brand new, relaxing in a world of peace at the Bath Authority.
Hey, it's Kyle Wallace. Right now, schedule your free in-home estimate and get $1,000 off a new shower or bath, plus 36 months of interest-free financing. Restrictions apply. A better bath awaits.
You're our priority at the Bath Authority.
Wisconsin is still cattle country, and that's why Bunzel's chose to stay close to home to hand select the finest beef. Quality goes into everything they do, from Bunzel's expansive array of meats, homemade specialty sausages, and their award-winning beef jerky. It just isn't a proper holiday meal without Bunzel's top quality cuts on the dinner table. Tasting is believing. Bunzels.com.
Aside from a house or a car specifically, what is the most expensive thing you own? Winnie?
A car.
Name an animal with 3 letters in its name.
Alligator. Name something that's better than being rich.
4. Besides a bird, something in a bird cage.
Hamster.
Something that comes with a summer storm.
Snow.
Something Russia's famous for, Bob.
Russians.
Something a burglar would not want to see when he breaks into a house. Rob!
Naked grandma!
Reason you might stay indoors on a beautiful day.
Because it's raining?
Name something you might buy that could turn out to be phony.
Yeah, a horse.
Name a time that most people get up.
In the morning.
A time most people go to bed.
At night.
This is the 7 at 11 on Sunday Karma with Craig Karmazin.
Oh, baby, it is time for your 7 at 11. Last night was 3-point shootout. Tonight is the All-Star game right here on ESPN Radio. And we're going to combine the two for you. That's right. We are going to combine the two. So, Kyle, what I want to know, since the year 2000, who has the most regular season 3-pointers of people who are at least a 3-time All-Star. Regular season three-pointers since the year 2000 of someone who is at least a 3-time All-Star.
So that means that it's just career.
Yep, career 3. Well,
not
from 2000
season.
on, right? Yeah, not single season.
From 2000 on, they have to be an active NBA player.
They don't have to be active.
Wait, what?
They had to have who had the most three-pointers from 2000 on who have appeared in at least 3 All-Star games.
Okay. And all right, let's give this a try.
Yes, and I feel like there's a name that you can start with when it involves 3-pointers.
All right, Steph Curry.
He is number 1 on the list, and he's got 800 more than anybody else on the list.
Okay.
Well done.
All right, fantastic. And then let's go with Kobe.
Kobe Bryant, who we know is at least a 3-time All-Star with 1,628 threes from 2000 through 2016. He is number 20 on this list.
Oh, well, this is good luck. Good luck.
I don't think this is a hard list.
If Kobe Bryant's not on a list where he played the majority of his career during that time, I mean, I know threes weren't like chuck it up, chuck it up, chuck it up.
I mean,
but
think about the guys who are the 3-pointer shooters and the guys who played a long time. All right.
Kobe played for 20 years.
He played 16 of those years. You're right. 15 of those years. You're right. Do you want to use a mulligan?
Sure, Ray Allen.
Ray Allen's number 4 on the list with 2,476 3-pointers.
Kevin Durant.
Kevin Durant is number 11 on the list with 1,971 3-pointers from 2007 to today.
Kevin Durant has more 3-pointers than Kobe Bryant in his career. Because I know Kobe came in the league in '96.
Yeah, so
in those 4 years, he probably didn't shoot that. I mean,
yeah,
his
I
first year
would guess it's about
that is insanity.
I mean,
the game has changed so much. Where a 6'11" dude, 7-foot dude. Because there's another guy on that list I was going to say, but.
All right. Well, that opens it up for you to call right now. Dude, you are terrible on this list. I got to be honest.
Terrible. I said Kobe Bryant and Kevin Durant. I mean, these are 2 great players that chuck it up.
Right. And so is Michael Jordan, but he's not on the list either.
Michael Jordan's career wasn't in the majority of this time.
You did terribly on this list. You got as many wrong as you got right.
I mean, I'm just saying there's going to be you can literally throw out 20 names on this list.
And I'm just saying, I don't
think I missed anybody bad.
Pratik was right. Pratik was right here.
How many he guessed?
He got 4. All of them were right, and then the segment started.
He got 4 in a row?
Yes, he got 4 in a row, and then the segment started.
Oh, well, Pratik obviously watches more basketball and more up. But there's not as much pressure when you got the clock on you.
Yeah. All right. Call now, 800-990-ESPN. That is 800-990-3776. We are looking for the people who have had the most 3-pointers since the year 2000 who have also played in at least 3 NBA All-Star games. We have Steph Curry, number 1 on the list, Ray Allen, number 4 on the list, and guessed incorrectly are Kobe Bryant and Kevin Durant. We'll give you a chance to call now, 800-990-ESPN. It's 800-990-3776. Your calls when we continue. It is Sunday Karma, ESPN Wisconsin.
This year, Dell Technologies wants to help you.
Sharon needed legal help. She needed Gruber Law Offices.
When I think about Gruber Law Office, I think about how they took care of me, how they make sure that you get what you're supposed to get. Gruber Law Office. One call, that's all. I will always trust one call, that's all.
Injured? Call Gruber Law Offices today. One call, that's all.
They are the best. I'm very happy.
Q Club of Wisconsin is your hangout spot for watching sports, playing games, and having some drinks. Mike, what do you have going on over there?
We have so much going on. We're the place to be for basketball season, with TVs everywhere. Book a party in our VIP room, which includes a private pool table, 2 shuffleboard tables, and 4 dartboards. Sign up for summer bocce leagues now before they fill up. And of course, we've got our fish fry on Wednesdays and Fridays, where we pile it high.
All happening at the Q Club of Wisconsin, North Grandview Boulevard in Waukesha. Check out qclubofwisconsin.com.
Stop in for your chance at huge savings during Fleet Farm's Balloon Pop event. This Saturday, February 24th, the first 300 shoppers will get a ticket to Shop and Pop for 10 to 100% off their entire purchase. Doors open at 7 a.m., so come on down, fill your cart, and pop a balloon to see how much you've saved. Don't miss Fleet Farm's Balloon Pop to score even more savings on everything you need for everyday life. This Saturday only.
I'm Shanola Hampton. Every day, millions of people face hunger. Today, I will share with you some of their experiences. I'm stuck between paying for medications or paying for food. John from Maine. After paying my bills, I can buy groceries. It's sad to say, food comes last. Alice from Oregon. I thought pantries were for less fortunate people, but anybody could be less fortunate in a day or even a second. Claire from Virginia. The Feeding America network of food banks helps provide over 6 billion meals to people in need each year. No one should have to worry where their next meal will come from. Together, we can end hunger. Learn more at feedingamerica.org.
Kyle, Brust, and Nortman, weekdays from 2 to 5.
Never, ever, ever getting back together. You go talk. Oh, that's.
Oh, you were off.
You were off. I'm off. I was off.
Presented by Bud Light and sponsored by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
Getting back together. There we go.
We're just as good as her.
We really are.
Kyle, Brust, and Nortman, right here on 94.5 ESPN. And subscribe to the show on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get podcasts.
This year, Dell Technologies wants to help you do amazing things with their best tech. For a limited time only, save on select next-gen PCs like the XPS 13 Plus, powered by Intel Core processors, and more. Plus, curate your dream setup with great deals on select monitors, mice, and more must-have electronics and accessories. When you shop online at Dell.com/deals, you'll have access to leading-edge technology to match your forward-thinking spirit and free shipping on everything. Again, that's Dell.com/deals.
Everybody, great job. Next up, we have Samantha.
10 times better performance can make a big difference. Castrol Edge Motor Oil gives your engine 10 times better high-temperature performance. Castrol Edge, better oil for maximum performance. Now through March 4th, get 5 quarts of Castrol Edge or Edge High Mileage Full Synthetic and an oil filter for $36.99, only at AutoZone.
Claim based on Sequence 3 H test versus API SP test limits.
Check the web, they out here chewing me up. Fade away, I left that Lucania bucket. I heard from someone you said you could be.
This is Sunday Karma with Craig Karmazin on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
Who this?
Jack Harlow.
Yeah, I knew I'd liked it. Oh, it's good. All right, we're looking for, since 2000, the most three-pointers in a regular season game for someone who is a 3-time All-Star. We have Kobe Bryant at number 20. We have KD at number 11. Those both incorrect. We have Steph Curry, number 1. We have Ray Allen, number 4. And we have Dan, who's going to help us try to knock off another name or two from this list. Good morning, Dan.
It's got to be James Harden.
James Harden, Kyle. I mean, that is a man who has hit a lot of threes in his day. James Harden is number 2 on this list with almost 2,900 three-pointers. Well done, Dan. Do you have another for us?
Someone the last name are Richardson. Just kind of a random guess. There was 2 guys in the 2000s or 2010s.
Yeah, no 3-time All-Stars. Not Jason Richardson. Not going to get it done. Thanks for the call. Well done, Dan, getting 1. Let's go to Mark.
Got less than me.
Yeah, he's got the same. No, No, you got one right, then you got one wrong.
Then I got one.
Yeah, except you at least named someone who you knew as a person. I guess we're going to go with as Jason Richardson, former Michigan State Spartan.
We're talking about Quentin Richardson, which both will be wrong.
Clippers Quentin Richardson. I was thinking Jason Richardson. Yeah, there were two Richardsons. Let's go to Mark. You're on Sunday Karma. Morning, Mark.
Morning, how are you?
Good. Who do you have for us?
How about Damian Lillard?
How about Damian Lillard, Kyle? Guy who won the three-point shooting. Oh, he probably on the list. Yeah, with 2,500 three-pointers. Dame is number 3 on the list. Now, do you understand, Kyle, while I was telling you did a bad job on this list?
I still don't think I did a bad job. I said Kobe Bryant and Kevin Durant, 2 of the greatest players of all time. So I am happy with my answers.
All right, Mark, who else are you going for here?
How about the other Splash brother? Let's go Klay Thompson.
How about the other Splash brother? Does he have the 3 All-Star Game appearances needed for this list? He absolutely does. And he is number 5 on the list with 2,376 three-pointers. We are down to only 2 names we are looking for on this list.
I like this.
How about the King? Let's go LeBron.
LeBron James. 2,365 three-pointers is good for number 6 on the list. Well done. Can Mark run the table? Number 7 is not easy.
Number 7's retired, right?
I'm not saying. It's your answer to your question answer.
He may have won a slam dunk contest. Let's go Vince Carter.
He's going to go Vince Carter. And Vince Carter is going to be correct by 3 three-pointers over Paul George for the number 7 slot with 2,176 three-pointers. Mark has run the table. Mark, where are you calling from?
Cedarburg.
All right, you're going to pick up a 94.5 ESPN T-shirt.
All right, now I want to ask you the question. Do you believe Mark
wasn't cheating?
You think Mark was legit?
I was thinking the same thing.
You
I was
think
like,
Mark was legit? Cause I mean, the way he threw the last one out there.
It seemed a little sus when he was like, oh, he's retired, right? And it was only by 3 over Paul George and then over Kyle Lowry, who was only 20 behind.
Oh, so Kyle Lowry has more than Kyrie Irving?
Than Kyrie Irving's number 17 on this list, yeah. Yeah, it goes Vince Carter, Paul George, Kyle Lowry, then Joe Johnson, and then Kevin Durant.
I would have never got Joe Johnson.
Joe Johnson's ahead of Kevin Durant.
Is Joe Johnson a Hall of Famer?
Good question. I don't know if he will be. Then it's Kevin Durant, Paul Pierce, Dirk Nowitzki, Carmelo Anthony, Chris Paul. Mark, you should talk to Mark, see if he was cheating while you're getting him.
I'll ask Mark right now.
Yeah, okay. All right, Kyle's going to be talking to Mark. And Kyle's accusing Mark of cheating right now. Let's see what he thinks. Kyle's really bitter about how much better Mark did. I have to say, I had a little thought of that. Like, that was a pretty impressive guess.
Mark is offended that I asked him that he looked it up.
Okay, he's offended.
Mark, are you offended? He was going to guess Vince or Dirk. Those his 2 guesses.
Okay, well,
I guess Vince had long. All right, Mark, I appreciate you. I'm going to get your information here. All right, I'm going to put you on hold. Mark might be mad. Mark, don't hang up. We love you.
All right.
Mark was offended.
Mark, I could see being offended when he just ran the table like that. That was impressive.
That was very impressive. I was going to say LeBron James, but once you said Kobe wasn't on the list, I guess the league has changed so much.
I mean, Dame, Clay, and LeBron, but then that final one, because Vince Carter did play, he played 20 years.
Yeah,
right?
He did, but he played in the same era as Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
Legitimately, he got drafted, 98? So, I mean, that's the same era, 2 years, and Kobe was definitely more of a volume shooter than Vince.
Yeah, I mean, Vince Carter will be surpassed by Paul George next week, but he gets the job done, as does Mark. We'll have more as we continue at Sunday Karma, ESPN Wisconsin.
He's the most interesting man in sports radio.
Well, should I have a chip on my shoulder that I'm not making as much money as Skip Bayless?
In his mind, anyway. The Homer Hour with special guests every day from 5 to 6.
When you say they gave it away, what's at the top of your list?
Get them off the field on 3rd down.
The Homer Hour with Homer. Weekdays from 5 to 6. Right here on 94.5 ESPN and streaming live on YouTube.
One call, that's all. That's Gruber Law Offices. And you hear David say it in the commercials, and you're just like, all right, one call, that's all. But that's actually peace of mind when the worst things happen, right? You're injured, a loved one's injured. You have so many things to worry about, and you don't know what to do. One call, that's all, doesn't mean the work stops at Gruber Law Offices. They're going to take it over from there, right? They're going to assist you. They'll be your advisor. That's how they've become the locally family-owned, nationally recognized go-to for tens of thousands of Wisconsinites over 30-plus years. That's why Gruber Law Offices is involved in all the community things that you care about, because they've been so successful helping others, because you only pay when you win. That's at Gruber Law Offices, where it's one call, that's all.
Get ready for an unforgettable week at Eagle Sports Range, Wisconsin's largest indoor range and retail firearm selection. They're celebrating their grand opening on February 16th through the 18th. 3 days of action-packed festivities featuring representatives from brands like Smith & Wesson, FN, and Vortex. It's your chance to meet the experts and get up close with the latest innovations in the industry. Plus, brace yourself for thrilling raffles, unbeatable sales, and much, much more. It's not just an event, it's an experience. Be part of the excitement from February 16th through the 18th. Eagle Sports Range, where passion meets expertise. EagleSportsRange.com.
ESPN Wisconsin's Mark Tauscher here, and if you're like me, you're probably budgeting out the rest of your 2024. Well, now's the time to set preferred dates for booking Johnson & Sons Paving. Whether it's asphalt or concrete, they set the standard for your needs. Maybe it's patching now, but a full repaving later. Talk with a Johnson & Sons project manager and set yourself up with a 5-year game plan. Booking work now gives you all the time needed to get the right paperwork in place. Get started now at johnsonsonspaving.com.
They say love is a universal language. Well, that's definitely true if you're talking about bacon. I mean, who doesn't love bacon? Forget the chocolates. Give the gift of bacon. It's everyone's love language. And you're going to love it that our bacon's on sale right now. With quick hot savings, we're taking bacon down to $2.49 a 12-ounce pack. Limit 2. Savings on bacon? Whoa, that's 2 love languages at once. And we're multilingual like that. Quick Trip. We're saving your bacon.
Go beyond your field of study and get a world-class education in leadership by joining the U.S. Army ROTC. Army ROTC programs transform students into confident leaders and provide a wide range of scholarships to help pursue life-defining careers. As an Army officer, you'll work side by side with peers who support your growth. Gain the experience and get the resources to open doors down the road. Army ROTC is open for enrollment. Visit goarmy.com/ROTC to learn more about available opportunities and scholarships, including at Marquette University.
Man, I love my kids so much. I once sat for 3 hours in the cold rain to watch her soccer team lose by 18 goals.
I love my kids so much, I once used a tube to suck snot out of her stuffed nose at 3 a.m.
You win.
Love your kids? Love them enough to make sure they're in the right car seat. From toddlers to tweens, visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat to find the right seat for their age and size. Keep them safe. Visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
It's Sunday Karma with Craig Karmazin on ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
Way too rich to drive a road. Made $1 million out the stove. She let nose. Pretty through white toes. I done put in all the bros. I done in the road. I done put up in the ghost. I done reached all my goals. Yeah, put up with Yeezy and dollar sign. I'm all about.
Wait, I didn't hear any Palermo's picks.
We got a special caller here.
Oh, we do.
And then we're gonna throw to Palermo's pick.
Oh. Okay. Talk to Chef Ed. You're on Sunday Karma. Morning, Chef.
Morning, Craig. I didn't know I was a special caller, but yeah, I'll take it. Yeah, Craig, I want you to know that I've always considered myself like a longtime Good Karma Brand employee, even though I'm not on the payroll, because I love all your shows from 7 in the morning to 6 at night. I don't miss a beat. I love all you guys, all your radio personalities. And just want to put the word out there to everybody in the listening nation, because you guys go all across. Coming up on March 15th, the old Buck Rallies, where everybody attended a Bucks game, a Marquette game, a concert, an Admirals game. We've been closed since last July. We're reopening a new place called Copper, and I'll be working there. So if they want to come see Chef Ed and get a pregame snack. They can come in and visit us. And then I had a question for Kyle. Kyle, you know, I love you like I said the other day. You're a brother from another mother. But watching these Love and Blind and 90 Day Fiancé, are you watching these under your own volition, or is your girl making you watch these? Because what's up with that guy? It's NBA All-Star Weekend.
I'm in my lover life moment right now, and with that lover life, I enjoy doing everything that she enjoys doing. I'm actually a 90 Day fan.
Yeah, but you were watching 90 Day Fiancé before her.
Craig, let's not talk about before her, Craig. Now she's listening, her family listening. Before her, I didn't exist. I did not exist.
So speaking of 90 Day Fiancé, if it only takes those people on the show 90 days.
Okay. All right. Chef Ed, thank you, Craig.
How long is it going to take, Chef Ed, how long you think it's going to take Kyle?
Okay. All right. Well, this ain't what that's for. Chef Ed, can you throw Craig some flowers like you threw us some flowers?
No, we don't need flowers.
No way, he threw
Chef
some
Ed,
flowers.
Chef Ed, good luck with the opening, and we're rooting for you. And everybody go out and visit Chef Ed. Thanks for the call, man, and thanks for ripping on Kyle. Yeah, Kyle. I mean, tonight it'll be very interesting to see if there is defense played in the NBA All-Star game.
Well, if the Bucks players are playing it, you know ain't no defense going to be played.
Wow, that is some hate. It is time for our Palermo's Picks.
It's that time.
Yes, it's finally here.
Craig makes his picks of the week.
You can bet the house on it.
Picks of the week on Sunday Karma with Craig Karmazin. Presented by Palermo's Pizza, Wisconsin's hometown pizza.
Can't wait to see what happens next.
On ESPN Wisconsin and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
Sunday night sports equals Palermo's. Like, it's just so easy. Like, I literally cannot remember the last time that there's a big game, we're going to watch it. I'm like, oh, I need to deliver pizza. No. Like, you have Palermo's with you, and you have the right one for you, the right one for your crew. You know, you might go urban pie on like a Monday night. You might go with like a thin crust. You might mix it up throughout the week. Sunday nights are for Screaming Sicilian at our house. That's what's going to be going with the NBA All-Star Game. I actually think, though, we'll probably go with the pizza right around tip-off. Usually NFL games, we go with it around halftime. But I think we'll have a little Bessie's Revenge. Harper's around, and she doesn't like the toppings as much, so the extra cheese, Bessie's Revenge. But no matter what, there is always the right Palermo's Pizza for you, because it's Wisconsin's hometown pizza for over 60 years. Legitimately, it's synonymous. It's in your grocer's freezer. You're going to find it. Wherever you go grocery shopping, you are going to find it. I get mine at Sendik's usually, but you can get them all over. That's the beauty of it. So whether it's Palermo's, Connie's, Urban Pie, Surfer Boy, Screamin' Sicilian, make sure you are supporting Wisconsin's hometown pizza, Palermo's Pizza, giving people jobs, supporting the local community in so many ways. Our good friends at Palermo's. All right, Kyle. It's Palermo's Picks time. I got to tell you, there's a new sports documentary out there that's going to be one of the GOATs.
What is that?
I just started watching it. I'm midway through episode 2, and only 2 episodes are out right now. Now, it's on Apple TV, kind of Apple Plus. Like, so you don't have to have that, like if you watch Ted Lasso or any of those shows. But it is called Dynasty, The New England Patriots. A 10-part documentary about the New England Patriots dynasty. That is my pick for the week of something that you should be watching. First 2 episodes are out now. Next 2 episodes will drop next Friday. So I think we're going to have 2 episodes drop every Friday. It's a 10-part documentary. Excellent about the New England Patriots and their entire dynasty.
Will I enjoy it as a Packers fan? Like, and football fans will enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean, there has not been a word through an episode and a half about the Green Bay Packers. I
mean, as there shouldn't be until they play the game where their linemen return the kickoff return.
I don't know that that'll be in it. I mean, the Patriots had think about the things they've had, from Drew Bledsoe getting injured, which is basically when it starts, and then Drew Bledsoe gets healthy, Kyle. And he was a $100 million quarterback back in the day. He had a 10-year, $100 million contract, and Tom Brady was the 199th pick in the draft, and they decided to stay with Tom Brady over Drew Bledsoe.
Well, because Drew Bledsoe, did he get healthy in the season they went to the Super Bowl?
He got healthy right away, and Brady threw 2 interceptions, and they were 5-5. And everyone's like, why isn't Belichick putting Drew Bledsoe back in?
Oh, wow.
And he stayed with Tom Brady, and they never lost a game the rest of the regular season. They rattled off. And Brady had not played that well either.
That was the 2001 Super Bowl? Was it the 2001, 2002 season?
Because he came in, Bledsoe, they were 0-2. Yeah, I'm not going to tell you the whole story. You got to watch it.
You can look up.
Yeah.
Look it up and research.
I know, but I'm saying you got to watch the doc. It's a great documentary on Apple TV. Check that out. The other thing we know you got to check out is the NBA All-Star Game. Really interesting to see kind of how it goes this year because they had picked up, they were drafting the teams, right? Team Giannis, Team LeBron, and they were doing it that way. This year they're back to East versus West. And I was at a thing in Indianapolis on Friday at the NBA Tech Summit where Bob Costas interviewed Larry Bird. And Larry Bird was unbelievably complimentary about today's players and just how they play, their skill levels, everything. The one thing he said is he's embarrassed watching the All-Star Game by how non-competitive it is. And he's like, the point of having players like that playing is to see them be competitive. And it's not the playoffs, but be competitive. He was hoping for a competitive game. Do you think we see a competitive game tonight?
No, I think we see the typical game where they turn it up at the end. I don't know what happened to the edge that the people that we watched, the athletes that we watched growing up, regardless, when they had an opportunity to be on the court, be on the football field, be on the baseball diamond, everything seemed to matter. Like the toughness seemed to matter. The will to win seemed to matter. Shining seemed to matter. Now it just seems like a group of friends who are very famous getting opportunity to have some fun and put on a nice little show for people versus actually caring about winning until the end. So, I think we'll see the same thing.
Now, you do want it to be some level of a show, right?
I want it to be a show, but
because don't you want alley-oops and like them, like because I remember Isaiah Thomas, you know, and I mean, they weren't playing like intense defense throughout the whole game.
But it was competitive. People had fire and people, you know, I like people going one-on-one and ISO type thing. I like the competitive spirit that guys have. I just feel overall the competitive spirit has just changed. Right?
Yes.
That's just what it is.
I do think there's a friendliness. I do think there's probably more of a concern of not getting injured, you know, things like that.
Guaranteed contracts, don't they? I mean, you don't want to get hurt, obviously. You don't want to get hurt, but I'm just saying. Like,
yeah, but and I don't think you're like so much more likely to get hurt one way or the other because, I mean, we saw in the Super Bowl, right? You can get hurt running onto the field in a non-contact injury. So I'm hopeful. And I last year was the first year for me even where I was like, man, like it's not that interesting to see one person dribble up the basketball and just dunk. Like, there's got to be a little more defense than this. It's got to be a little more competitive than this. And so I think it will be interesting to see how guys play tonight. And there are a bunch of first-time All-Stars who want to get in the mix. And, you know, we've seen Giannis. When he started, he seemed a little more competitive maybe than other guys in this game. So it'll be interesting to see what the level of competitiveness is. And you do have $2, not just in the All-Star game, but $2 actually starting in the All-Star game with Giannis and Dame.
Yeah, and even I'll be curious to see because Giannis is one that he always seems that he wants to be a dog. And so I'm interested in these first-time guys if they're just there and they're following everybody else's lead or they out there.
You're saying like just trying to be cool?
Yeah, just trying to be cool. You're out there trying to – because sometimes people don't like when you extra. And when Giannis was in there hustling and working hard, it came off as he's doing too much, right? He's trying too hard. Hey, chill. I like when guys are trying too hard and hustling because that's what makes it fun. I want to see guys go at each other. I think Giannis.
You don't want to see Tyrese Halliburton throw some oops to Giannis? I mean, that's going to be fun,
I want to see Tyrese Halliburton throw some oops to Giannis, but I want to see like them go at each other. I want to see fun, competitive basketball tonight. I'm gonna watch.
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander matched up with Tyrese Halliburton.
See, that's fun, but I don't want them smiling and laughing. I want them smiling and laughing like, I'm about to get at you. I'm about to go at your head. Like, I want it to be, you know, when you watch those, when they have those runs for the Opens and like the not the Rucker type thing, but the Summer League games where the NBA stars show up and they drop like 60 points and how competitive the Drew League has gotten in times and years. Like, it seems to me that those are more competitive than the NBA All-Star game.
Yeah. Now, we know Joel Embiid not playing and Julius Randle not playing, right? For the East, that opened up opportunities, including for Bam Adebayo to start. So that's why if you're a little surprised, you're like, wow, Bam Adebayo starting the All-Star game? That's because Joel Embiid is injured and is out. So who do you like? You look at the West. How about this for a starting five? Luka, KD, LeBron, Jokic, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
That's a squad.
That's
a squad.
I mean,
Shai should win the All-Star. He should win MVP. He's a cooker.
He's right there to win MVP this year of the NBA, not of the All-Star game.
He's in that conversation. Oklahoma City's having a good year, but he's in that conversation.
I'm saying Luka is an MVP candidate, and then you have former MVPs, KD, LeBron, and Jokic.
I saw a video.
That is a starting five.
No, it is. Did you see the video of Luka throwing the ball up in the air? Was that real? Was that real?
Yes.
What in the what?
Yeah, so
he was literally throwing
Luka
the ball
shot
90 feet in the air, sounding like.
No. So from 40 feet out, he took a shot where he said, I'm going to bounce it in, and he bounced a three-pointer in. Is that the one you're talking about?
I saw one where it looked like he just heaved it up in the air. Maybe it bounced it in and went in. All I know is I saw it back-to-back, and I was like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, no, it was real where he bounced in a three-pointer from about 40 feet out, like sitting on the sidelines, basically.
On the first try?
Yes, and then he missed it on the second. But yeah, so then the East, you got Tyrese Halliburton, Giannis, Dame, Jason Tatum, and Bam. Not the star power of the West. And then, it should be a fun matchup. It is right here on ESPN Radio, and you can hear all the action. Marquez Desher and PJ Carlissimo with the call tonight right here on ESPN Radio. So there is your Palermo's Picks of the Week, brought to you by Palermo's. We didn't get to talk too much about the Super Bowl, by the way.
Yeah, my team will be in the conversation next year. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
Did you think the Packers were competitive? Like the Packers could have been out there on last Sunday?
Could they have been out there?
I mean,
yes,
like
because we saw them competitive with the 49ers, right? So, yeah, of course.
After watching the game, I wasn't like, we didn't deserve to be there. We didn't. We wouldn't have been ready for that game, but it gave me confidence and hope that they'll be moving forward. We're taking a step in the right direction.
We saw the Packers beat the Chiefs, and we saw them just about beat the 49ers. So, sure. But I don't think the Packers are going to be there next year. Like, I mean, it's so hard to get there. And, they're going to have a first-year defensive coordinator. There's going to be a lot of change. It's going to be such an exciting year. I feel like they're a year ahead of where I thought they'd be. So I think that's probably the biggest excitement you have for the Packers. But I still think their division's crazy, right?
Yeah, they're right there with the Lions.
I mean, the Lions.
Don't you say, and who else?
The Lions. I mean, they're right there with the Bears this year. They just got them both times head-to-head.
Oh, stop that.
And who knows what the Bears, I mean, Bears are a program on the rise.
Okay, stop it.
Be careful.
Stop it.
Be careful. Stay healthy. Stay together.
Ending, Craig.
Survive today. Thrive tomorrow. Don't settle, Kyle. You have been listening to Sunday Karma, ESPN Wisconsin. Enjoy your NBA All-Star Game Sunday. Kyle, send us out.
Peace.
This is ESPN Wisconsin and ESPNWisconsin.com.
Teachers are dynamic leaders, shaping a new generation. They bring a variety of perspectives from diverse backgrounds, innovating how they teach to prepare students for our fast-changing world. Achieving this takes skill and expertise. They're tireless explorers, creatively discovering a universe of solutions, telling stories, experimenting, inspiring, mentoring, connecting cultures, and connecting with each other, leading by example. Experience the unique joy of helping students thrive. Teaching is a journey that shapes lives. Are you ready to begin? Explore teaching at teach.org, a campaign supported by the U.S. Department of Education, Teach.org, and 1 million teachers of color.
Hi, this is Scott Trout of Cordell & Cordell. If you're a dad who is facing divorce, there are extra layers of stress that may include stereotypes and assumptions. No two situations are the same. Our legal experience and dedication prepare us for whatever legal challenges we face together. You need a partner you can count on. For more than 30 years, Cordell & Cordell has represented men in divorce.
Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Milwaukee attorneys. 111 East Kilbourne Avenue, Suite 1650, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 53202.
My friend and I are taking a trip to Mexico this year, but neither of us speak Spanish. So we downloaded Babbel and started learning Spanish fast.
Want to start getting conversational in another language? In as little as 3 weeks, Babbel's quick 10-minute lessons were designed by language experts to be the most efficient and effective way to learn a new language.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's BABBEL.com.
We've told you about Moses Hadara,
the diamond cutter who created the Kessler 81.
The magical diamond that vibrates with light.
Kessler's works with crazy diamond cutters.
Genius.